Hello and welcome to Live from the Heart podcast. I'm excited to welcome you for part two of this episode with Fabrice. Um, in the first part, if you haven't already, I invite you to listen to it. We talk about incarnation on Earth and the cycle of reincarnating. We talk also about plant medicine, spiritual ego, many things. So I invite you to go to this episode if you haven't listened to it already, and then we'll keep answering other questions here in this episode. Fabrice, welcome again. And
Thank you for having me for part two, Anne-Claire.
I'm excited about this one. So right now you just picked a question, which is which is about the return of Jesus.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So let's go there.
The return of Jesus. Um, yeah, that's such a big topic. And first, I want to acknowledge and appreciate many different brothers and sisters who may be listening today, have different belief systems. Some people believe in Christ, some people believe in Allah, some people believe in Buddha. You name it. There are many different religions. And then you also have people who believe in nothing at all. And you have people who believe in God, who believe in a one infinite creator, in a benevolent life, but they don't buy into the books because they see some kind of politics or manipulation inserted into the story of extraordinary prophets and accomplished beings. So, I was born Christian. By the time I was 8 years old, I was in a private school, actually, all the way till 11. I was with nuns, believe it or not, and I was a pain in the neck for these
Of
elder
course.
ladies. I was a naughty child and also very, very curious, and I would always ask questions that would make them so uncomfortable. They didn't have an answer to that. So for me, I realized earlier that, what's in the book is one thing. Now, on Jesus, I just want to be clear. I did not live at the time that this man lived. So it's hard for me to take a clear stand and say, yes, he existed and lived, or no, it's an archetype that was invented as a story to bring people together. Okay? Now, if we choose to believe that the man existed, and in my heart, I do feel that actually there was someone called Yeshua that was born in Africa, and he was a black dude for a start. He wasn't a blonde, green eye, kind of like the depictions that the Vatican showed us in the books. He's literally born in Jerusalem. So the guy was, Arabic. He probably had a beautiful olive skin, or he was black. Either way, he wasn't blonde with blue eyes for me. Like, that's clear. And what I understand about this guy is he was a yogi. All he was a yogi. In fact, all the books and the channelings about Jesus, all the work, there are many small writings that constitute the Bible. But many of these writings have purposely been disregarded and ignored as well. So it's funny, as you dive deeper into religion, you can see some holes, you can be some adjustments, you can see some censorship. Even back then, they were selecting what's going to be in that book and what's not going to be in that book. So over the years, I came to realize that for me, Christ is a frequency of love and compassion. Every human being, it doesn't matter your religious affiliation, every human being can tap into loving more, loving deeper, accepting more, forgiving people. So instead of giving all the power to this guy, I think the invitation there is, who am I on the daily with the people in my life? How do I cope with challenge? How do I love my brothers and sisters, my family, my wife, my husband? I think that's just the invitation there. It's not to get a tattoo of Jesus and a silver cross around the neck and then go out and get drunk and fight with people. And, that the religion has been distorted a lot. And so I actually studied a lot of different religion, a lot of different calendars. I consider myself as some kind of unconventional historian and chronologist as well. And yeah, when you look at the word history, let's study history. It just means his story. So every time there is a fight and a battle and a war and a reset, whoever wins the war can write the books and can tell the future generation what happened. And 95% of the time, it's not true at all. It's just his story. So now, that being said, there was 6 or 7 years ago, I was really, really deep in meditation then. That's the year where my Kundalini blasted through. And for the following 9 or 10 months, all I did was meditating 4, 6, 7 hours a day, every day. I didn't work. I was extremely sensitive to energy. I couldn't be in a public environment, whatever. I was just meditating every single day. And in that year, I was super attuned, with the moon and the eclipses and all the subtler aspects of reality. And I did a ceremony with my lover back then. And in that ceremony, I actually had what I would call a Christic experience. And for me, there was a physicality in my body where in my third eye, I saw a white crystal and I saw a light coming from outside inwards with a very crystalline, borderline metallic sound. Tick, 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 tick. And it was just clicking, clicking, clicking. And then all those parts of light met in the middle. And in that moment, I blasted a white sphere, but I blasted it around me like miles away. And in that moment, I collapsed on my back in absolute bliss. So I'm not going to put words on that, but that was a mystical experience. I was in that for 3-4 hours. And in that moment, I cried a few tears and I saw the face of Jesus. So I didn't created any meaning, but what I got that day was like, wow, this has to be Christ consciousness. This has to be what they're talking about. It's when your heart come online in a specific way where now you have more loving wisdom to share with your brothers and sisters. So that's for the context, and that's my direct experience because I don't read as many books, but I can share the truth that I experience. I think all of us, our truth, our life is valuable, our journey, our lessons. That's what we should talk about. What do I know at the embodiment level? What codes, what transmissions do I really hold in my life? And so the return of Jesus is, again, for me, it's a narrative of disempowerment. Let me explain. If you believe that the aliens are coming to save us, if you believe that the prophet is coming back, may it be Jesus or called whatever you want to call him, it gives us the excuse for not bettering ourselves, from not fixing the problems that we are creating collectively. It's like, oh, yeah, Jesus is coming back. And he's so loving, he's going to have to do all the heavy lifting and all the shit that we do every day is going to go away just because Jesus.com. And personally, I'm sorry, I don't want to ridicule anyone here or anything. Okay, I try to be as kind as possible, considerate. But the return of Jesus, to me, what it means is as we go through the collective awakening, and the civilization that we live in is going to collapse in front of our eyes. It's going to be a lot of chaos. A lot of truth will be revealed to all of us at once. It won't be some kind of weird hypotheses and conspiracy theories and whatever else you want to call it. It will be clear for everyone at the same time, because that's how nature intends to communicate to its inhabitants. So when the reset occurs, and it will be a period of chaos, and just like a fire in a forest, after the reset, the grass grows green again on the ashes of the previous trees. And so we have those cycles. And so the return of Jesus for me just means the return of Christ consciousness, meaning how many human beings are going to be holding that frequency in their hearts in the new world, in the new civilization that that's my conviction, okay? But I'm convinced that you and I and Claire and all our brothers and sisters here, within the next 20 years, we are going to live through that moment within the next 20 years. So maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 30, but I know that it's a knowing for me. It's not even a maybe. So that's what I think about the return of Jesus, fam. Don't give your power away. Don't put anyone on a pedestal that never asked to be on a pedestal. None of those realized beings wanted to be popular. None of them, if they existed. But I know they existed because at any point in time on planet Earth, we have a few hundred living masters who walk this earth. They always hold the light. It's just they are kind of like hidden in plain sight. And so that's kind of a loaded answer, but it's a fascinating topic because we hear a lot of that. Some people are just waiting for Jesus to come back and save us all. And I think this will be politically used against us too. That idea that a biblical figure is going to come and take the stage and tell people, I'm here to save you. Yeah, I don't buy into that.
Yeah.
If this happens, then we will feel it and we will know it in our hearts, but I will not be in a doctrine and in an imagination. I will be in an energy here to check.
Thank you for all of that. And I do believe the same, that it's in all of us. And if I were Jesus today, coming back, I would not be showing off, and I would not be, talking loud, because I know what happened the first time, and I would not do it again. Who would want to go through that again? I would be more like undercover. I would not do like plain sight.
That's hilarious. And yeah, there is wisdom in in staying low key as well. But yeah, we cannot fake energy, and Claire. So all of us, I know for a fact, I know dozens of people who have an incredible activated heart in 2024. I know them, I see them already. So for me, it's obvious that in the next 10 years, it's going to be more and more and more as people do the work and come online. That's what happens. It's the human potential. Yeah. It's not for the chosen ones. It's anyone who pays attention and want to merge with life,
Yeah. You said The Chosen. Have you watched the TV show?
I keep hearing about it. I have not. At this time, I don't have.
Okay.
I haven't made it a priority. I don't have so much time to watch anything. So, did you?
I started it. I didn't continue yet, but I have enjoyed it. I found it a little bit slow. So I think I was not really into it. It felt a bit slow, but I'll go back at it. I enjoyed it.
That's cool. Well, sometimes, we need to unplug and have a chill out evening. So, but I'm all about sovereignty and self-empowerment, right? Empowering people is really how it works around us. And so you are the chosen one. If you hear these words from your heart, you yourself, you are the chosen one. How you're going to manifest and actualize that potential is really up to you your integrity, the work you do, like how much energy, how much inspiration you have. If you just smoke weed every day and giggle, you may have the gifts, you may have the potential, but it doesn't mean that you're going to have to make a change as well, So we are the
Yeah.
chosen ones and nobody else.
Yeah. I have another question. How does it feel to look like Jesus?
Well, funny you say that, Anne-Claire. Let me show you, because I get this all the time.
I know. That's why I ask.
So here you have it, fam. It's hilarious again, because as I was saying before, nobody has ever seen Jesus. But I mean, nobody, who knows? Maybe he presented himself to some. For me, I'm 40 this year. I've wanted to grow a beard for a while. I love my beard, especially here where I live on a sort of a ranch. Like it fits my lifestyle perfectly. And my long hair, I'm enjoying them as long as I have them. Okay, so again, I'm 40. I have a good head of hair, and I've realized in my practices that hairs are like antennas. They do help to collect the subtler etheric energies. And so if you want to be vital and to have that subtle current of life flowing through you, long hairs are pretty cool. In fact, that's exactly why in the military, soldiers are asked to have extremely short hair because they cannot tap in their feminine, and when there were wars and people would capture some elders, some Native American, or wherever, some Polynesian men, the first thing they would do, they will cut their hair as a humiliation thing and a domination thing, but also because this is a connection to spirit. In the movie Avatar, they give some clue to that. But yeah, if you are a meditator or if you cultivate prana as a dude, just try it. You can always cut your hair and go back to what you know, right? So yeah, hairs are good on your head.
Thank you for sharing.
And soft.
Shall we take another question for this episode? What else do you
Cool.
want to talk about?
Well, I think speaking of divinity and Tracy here, big up to Tracy who asked a few questions for this particular episode, but she's asking on sacred sexuality. Someone else, Constibish, is that how you say it? Constibish is asking about love and relationships. So yeah, I think sacred sexuality is a beautiful subject. And like everything else, it's being galvanized a little bit with all the neo-tantra. And I won't give any names of certain schools, but marketing is how you sell. And people are using eros and sexuality because humans love sex. Humans love food. They love sex. We love connection. We love to feel sexy. We love to feel seen. We love the excitement of discovering a new partner, and it's exciting. And we should look into that. We should look into what is eros truly about as a human being. Because the only reason why you exist, my friend, is because your parents, through an orgasmic event, that's how life is created. You need man for sure to come to get the semen, but it's even better if the partners are in sync and they come together. Then that's even a bigger energy there to initiate the seed of the child. So sacred sexuality is a fascinating topic. Just like plant medicine, people can take all the routes they want. I don't think that you should just have one partner at 16, 17, 18 and marry them and stay with them for the rest of your life. The same that I don't think that being a slut should be glorified or shamed, but not glorified at least. These are just different phases in the life of an adult to figure our shit out. But most of us, until we get in touch with subtler energies, more presence, a heart that's more open, before that moment, we are very compulsive creatures. What does that mean to be compulsive? As a man, especially in my 20s, I was always loaded in testosterone. I mean, the natural kind, not the juice. But if you're young and fit and full of life, you have that fire inside of you. That's a fact. So every time I would look at a sister, if she had a nice ass, and forgive my French, but if she was gorgeous and curvy, or just feminine and sensual and petite and whatever, like whatever activates you is very personal. But when I was seeing beautiful women, the instant thought crossing my mind was like, wow, can I get her in my bed? Can I make love to that woman? Can I fuck her? Whatever language you want to go. And it was a compulsion. And so sometimes I would even get out of my way to try and talk to them, get their phone number, to flirt, or I would go out in nightclubs just specifically to meet someone. And, but my idea of connecting with a woman was through sexuality and making sure, that everybody has a good time. Hopefully we can all come, and that's great. And I did the job, and let's move on. The intention was never to see that person fully, to understand who she is, to understand her codes, her light, what makes her special. So I was objectifying a quality of consciousness. Let me say that again. It's like you can put 100 gorgeous men or women side by side. What we are attracted to is actually the energy of the masculine or the feminine, and more specifically, the energy or the frequency that you need right now to evolve. Just like plant medicine, you can discover that within yourself, or you can outsource it. So what is sacred sexuality to me? I cannot answer for everybody, but 8 years ago, I really had a major change with the energy circulating inside of me. And then I was studying with Mentak Chia. I was studying some kind of Tantra in Ubud, and I went on that whole thing for 5 years. Few of my lovers were tantrikas and whatever. And, I went through all of those spiritual ego of being proud and feeling so different and so onto something and so liberated. And I thought it was freedom, but actually I was a slave of my own compulsions until I got the thing. So sacred sexuality, first and foremost, it means to be intentional. If you're going to make love to someone, you need to be here, you need to be now. You need to slow down. You need to connect even before you take the clothes off. You need to eye gaze. You need to hold each other's hands. You need to. It's a real moment. If you're not on drugs, if you're not completely drunk at 2 a.m, it's emotional to meet another adult. The heart is going to pound in your chest, and hopefully, if the chemistry is there, what's going to happen for the guys, for the girls, in our panties, it's all happening. Like there is a chemistry there is a body language. So sacred sexuality is about slowing down. It's about being intentional to have a beautiful time with that person, but not necessarily to have that agenda of orgasm. A lot of us, men and women, we are conditioned to believe if I make the guy come, he will love me, he will come back, he will ask for more. The guys, if I make the girl come, I will be a good fuck, and she will tell all her girlfriends, and I will be a rock star. I mean, I make some generalities here, please, if I'm understand I'm trying to convey something, but in the big lines, that's what it comes down to. So we have an agenda. And the agenda, and you even see that in the last 10 years and stuff, all those things about squirting and it gets kind of people get more and more disconnected from the heart and the subtle energies, and they need more and more intensity, and they need the kinky, and they need the shibari and the BDSM and the pulling the hair and whatever. I don't want to get too graphic, but I mean, we're all sexual beings here, and that's what I see is the objectification of our sisters, which most of them, they could be mothers. They have the potential to hold another life. So there is a real disconnect here with porn, some kind of porn. So sacred sexuality, it's the mastery within yourself to bring a different level of respect. Okay, I'm choosing that person. We're going to exchange a lot of data from our morphogenetic fields, including transfer of trauma, transfer of negative karma, also positive gifts. A lot of beautiful sisters, they have so much magic and so much light, and they keep on rubbing it and giving it away to guys who are not even worth it. And so guys get really, I mean, that's another conversation altogether. I want to stay on the topic of sacred sexuality. So my experience of this, first, if you realize that the masculine and the feminine quality of life are within you at all time. If you truly know this with your entire experience and your body, then when you see a hot guy or a hot girl, you don't have that dog who hears the bell and he knows it's time for dinner, kind of like, what is it, Pavel, or whatever that experiment with the dog and the bell. Okay, so you basically, we start to understand, wow, I'm so compulsive, I'm so addicted. It's like, I need to do something about that. And so that requires presence, it requires slowing things down. And then when you're really intentional and you find a beautiful match, then your sexuality is very spiritual, because through the root and through the root chakra, you can access your infinite nature and bring it into the 3D. And so your body gets absolutely charged with energy. Now, most brothers and sisters have not learned how to circulate that energy where it needs to go in the physical body, so that all chakras, all energy centers of the body get energized, they spin a little faster, you get more intuition, more creativity, more magnetism, more prana. What tends to happen is after 10, 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, after 20 minutes of good sex, people orgasm, they climax, and all that energy that was in their body is now dispersed back to the ether, and they have not learned that they can actually, through presence, through breath, they can hold and contain that energy, and it's going to raise their consciousness. So these are very multidimensional topics. But sacred sexuality to me is, first, you need to be selective. Who do you decide to be intimate with? And what's the true reason there? And is your heart actually in it? Or is it just like you're feeling super horny that day and you just want to get laid? Which is cool. Look, like everybody, we all on different, path. But when you meet any man or any woman from that place, knowing that the divine is animating that being, and it's also animating you, and you're going to merge your energies and charge your vessels with the infinite light and love that you are, then you don't care so much about coming. Actually, you do your best to manage that. So that's a mouthful, if I may, pun intended. But it is what it is, fam. There are many ways to connect and make love and fuck, and it's all good and it's all welcome. But things get old and we grow up, and so it's more meaningful to meet someone, to see someone, and want to make love to them instead of just being compulsive and Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I recently read two books, so I'm offering resources here for people who want to dive deeper. One is Tantric Orgasm for Women from Diana Richardson, and the
Mm.
other one is Tantric Sex for Men, which is kind of the same book for men. It's interesting because for women it's about 10 hours to listen to as an audiobook, and for men it's 5 hours. So I'm like,
Oh yeah,
okay, there's a big difference there.
they cut it in
And
half.
let's make it simple. And I really loved it. And there are some everything you've been sharing, they also share in the book. And what I loved is that they explain that when you spread your energy and it's dispersed, as you said, because it's not intentional and you don't learn how to master the energy, and then usually most people, they seek this energy release because this
Mm-hmm.
is the only thing they know how to do in sexuality. And then the problem is that it creates heightened emotion, like a peak high, and then you have a peak low. And then they explain in the book that it creates more drama, and it
Mm-hmm.
creates more dramatic relationships with fights and with needs and with things which are pretty heavy. And then the authors, which I think are a couple, they say, oh, but that explains how the world works now, because people don't have
Mm-hmm.
their conscious sexuality in their private life, and then it express in the world the way it does right now, with so much drama, so much anger, so much
Mm-hmm.
fears, so much disconnection. That's also because we are unable to do it in our intimate relationships. Then we just project that onto the world and we create extra drama, which is not necessary. So if everybody would take care of
Mm-hmm.
themselves in the bedroom and make it more conscious, I guess the world would be a better place to live.
Yeah, I mean, amen to that. We all reaching similar conclusions where we've been told that selfishness is the worst thing in the world on purpose. Self love is not selfishness, and if we don't fill up our cup, we are a liability in the world. We are not a resource. If our cup is empty and we struggle with our daily responsibilities and health and financials, and how could we be a force for good for our community? So we have to rewrite all those programmings and yeah, realize that through conscious sexuality we evolve our consciousness, we awakened. It's the easiest way to raise our frequency, basically, which is exactly why the orgasm exists. It's because when people have too much energy and their frequency is raised too quickly, it's like an electric board in a house. When there is a lightning coming through or whatever, the fuse goes on because the circuitry cannot contain the voltage. It would melt and fry everything. So with humans, it's also the same. It's like, unless all your nadis and your body is prepared and you can contain and relax into that light that you are, you will have very, very mystical experiences on good love. And I'm sure many of you know that. You've tasted it. I'm sure of that. And if not, then play in that with that idea that love. Imagine that sex and love making is the last free thing on the planet, and yet they keep on like scaring people with all kind of STDs and wearing condoms, and like it's just crazy to me. It's just the level of inversion in the matrix is hilarious eventually, but in the beginning it's rough. It's like, wow.
Thank you. Thank you for all of that. How do we connect both topics? Can we wrap it up and connect sacred sexuality and Jesus?
Well, I would say that if Jesus truly existed and any other realized human being, they would have realized themselves, and then they would have chosen to invite someone, a beautiful, playful, loving mirror, to share this experience that is life. So for Jesus, in the books, it is said, that Mary Magdalene was the one that he was in partnership with in divine union. Interestingly enough, she's also called the Black Maria, because both of them were black because they were born in that part of the world. And so it's just funny how the narrative was changed to accommodate some kind of whoever was in charge for this era. But nevertheless, I think there is even a level of connection and bonding where the frequency you are in. So we move from an orgasm that is very localized in our genitals to heart orgasms, third eye orgasms, full body orgasms. Once you experience these ones, it's very difficult to go back to just a 10-minute quickie where you just feel it down there. And then after a while, if you don't climax, then you dissolve into more light and you have more realizations, more insights, more. I mean, it's a process of waking up through that life energy that we channel through our sexuality. So there is also a moment where you can be in the presence of someone and you can play with eros without even touching each other. You can recognize if the polarity is there, if there are codes in the field of that person that would mutually benefit each other. And that's why, in my opinion, a true master who is realized, then you realize you can be with all the men or all the women who have realized the same thing. It's a frequency thing. And it's just fun to share your life with someone else. There is no more need. There is no more codependencies, no more like distortions, projections. It's like, I'm here in this incarnation until my time comes and I'm just going to do my best work in full presence, whatever. And then I choose someone to be sharing that journey with me. So I think divine union is truly that, is to heal, come out of trauma, come out of all those models from the patriarchal, from the objectification of the feminine, all those layers of programming, and realize what it means to make life with someone, to share, to be really intimate with someone. Yes, sexuality has its time and place and it's amazing, but true intimacy is from the heart and from all the other energetic centers. It's not just from the pants. So yeah, that's my pick on the subject, and I hope many brothers and sisters can get real with how special and valuable they are, and not waste that energy jerking off on porn, where they could evolve their intellect. Everything can evolve with that life force energy if it's cultivated instead of wasted. That's kind of the key here. It's a free tool for us to evolve our consciousness.
Thank you. That makes me want to have another episode. I hope that makes me want to have another episode with you another day about relationships and meeting people and cultivating beautiful relationships. And I believe a lot of people around me are single and are looking for a conscious partnership, and they are complaining about the people that they meet and all the things. So let's do an episode about that in the near future, if you agree.
I'd love to, Anne-Claire, and I think you will also have some good gems to share on this specific subject as well. I'm curious to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay. Then it's a date. Thank you.
Yay, let's do it. Well,
do you have any final word?
No, just thank you for you guys tuning in, and yeah, we love you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of your beautiful energy.
Thank you so much. If you've listened to this episode and you've enjoyed it, please share it to your friends and to your community, and put 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It helps us more be more and more visible. Thank you, and see you next week for another episode. Bye bye.